Well, then let's talk about souls.
I love souls.
Damn, we're getting these big topics today. Are Night Elf souls poised to blow up the jailer? Like in Warcraft 3. I mean, if anyone is going to say, screw you, jailer, I think it is the Night Elves. They've been truly messed up. So, of course, we have got a tweet from the illustrious Ian Bates. Just man about town when it comes to the lore, saying Chandris and Tyrande talk about the souls having some purpose to fulfill as well. Wait. They've pointed out a similarity between 9.2 and the final mission of Warcraft 3, Eternity's End. So what if the Night Elf souls are going to sacrifice themselves to blow up the jailer like Archimonde?
I would rage so bad.
Now here's the thing. Here's the little note. The little note? What? Here's the text.
The wee note.
Elune has not forgotten us. You, saving us, is proof of that. I wonder if there is still a part for us to play, a duty to fulfill. We must be patient. I really hope that it doesn't happen like that in a way where these souls are destroyed. I don't know why. I think I just don't want it to be that grim. I mean, they get vengeance, but...
Vengeance.
I just kind of feel they were hard done by. And I think, maybe I am just a big cheesy schmuck. But I think that as much as a happy ending can be taken from this, I think that's actually the thing to do for the poor Night Elves. Because I've always really loved the Night Elves, actually. And I feel like they've really had a hard time lately. And I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Maybe they can do it in a way where it's cool. But yeah, anyway, so obviously this, this patch is called Eternity's End. The final mission of War 3 is called Eternity's End. In that, the Elven Wisps defend the World Tree by surrounding him, detonating, creating that humongous big explosion. And, Steve Nooser kind of referenced it as well. He said, the Shadowlands story pulls together threads that started in War 3 and wove their way through the other, WoW and its expansions. And it's the final chapter to one book of the Warcraft saga. So maybe they're going to do some, mirroring the endings thing where
it's like George Lucas said, poetry.
It's so it is.
Poetry.
That's it. Now, here's the thing. If Steve is very strictly being true there, it means we're in for the Frozen Throne for Tenno, so that would be great.
Oh shit, let's go.
Yeah, imagine. Oh, holy shit! Could you imagine if they just went patch 9.2 Eternity's End? 10.0, the Frozen Throne. Can you imagine the amount of shit everyone would lose?
Oh, yeah, they'd lose it, but I don't think people would lose it in a good way. I think people would lose it into their hands and then at the Irvine campus, I think.
That
would be a little bit more what I'd expect, because the Eternity's End stuff just feels so forced to me. That's the part that annoys me. It's like, maybe I would believe this if I didn't know what we know about the Garrosh thing being just, fired in last second. If it
Which
wasn't
Garrosh thing?
The Soul Render bit.
Oh yeah, where that was just like one person working the game was just pretty passionate about Garrosh, so they did it.
Yeah, utterly based. But this if they had done that with intent, and it wasn't clearly just what it was, which was I thought it was fine. Would have been nice if it was done with resources, but it was a nice end to that character. But out of nowhere, but it sort of worked. Mm-hmm. It makes sense with that lines of dialogue. If they'd done the same with Ner'zhul, if they'd done the same with Kel'Thuzad, if the Shadowlands didn't or paid a little bit more than vague lip service to some of the ideas, that would make sense. Mm-hmm. But to me, it feels like all of this Eternity's End, all of this, it's the same. It's the end of the saga that started. You're like, no, it's not. Yeah. It's not. That ended in Legion. Everyone knows it. Everyone feels it. What you're doing is you're making an epilogue to Legion that is trying to tie up loose ends, tying them up rather poorly, I would suggest, because the idea that Kel'Thuzad knew about the jailer all along makes me sick to my fucking stomach. Think about Warcraft 3. As to whether he did or not, I don't know, but I think it's implied that he did. The fact that Ner'zhul was just a boss fight with no real dialogue.
Bit sad.
It's all just like, I agree with the idea. I would have loved Warcraft 3 to have like a nice looped ending of everything that wasn't the Burning Legion, but it kind of just, I don't know, feels too cynical to me. Yeah. And I don't want to be hyper cynical, but they kind of force it out of me at times.
Well, the question then is, part to play, duty to fulfill, will they reenact that? So we'll take a look at some of the scroll people. He says, I think that would leave an even worse taste in people's mouths. At least giving them a peaceful afterlife in Ardenweald, having them die a gruesome death, and then later blowing themselves up and essentially robbing them of that afterlife. That it would be awful. That's one of the main reasons I think Blizzard would do it. Oh, I may have disillusioned Ian. Disillusioned a few of us when it comes to the lore.
Yeah, I think. Well, another thing is that feels a little bit like vindictive, which I think that's kind of what Garrosh did. Garrosh was like, "No, fuck this. I'm going out on my terms," and I thought that was cool for his character. But I think the only thing that makes sense for Night Elves is the idea of renewal. That's the only thing that works thematically. I think because if they go vengeance again, you're like, why are you telling the story of vengeance with every Night Elf that's ever existed?
And also, why did you do renewal? Why did you do renewal in the 9-1 story to then do vengeance again in the 9-2 one? I mean, you could say because he is about, he is about to do a fucking fresh Windows install in the entire universe.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. That's not vengeance. That's
sacrifice.
That's sacrifice for necessity.
It's kind of like, have the Night Elves not sacrificed enough in this story?
That is what they sort of did in Warcraft 3, but I think in Warcraft 3 that didn't land super well. Maybe it did. I don't remember it being just like, oh, the world tree's gone. I remember, to be fair, I was young going, nice tree burned down? Oh, that's sad. What else is like, we've lost our immortality. I'm like, I don't know. Was I 11, 12, some shit. I don't have the mental capacity to understand this. But it just, doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right because if this were more a focus of the story, sure. If we were completely up against the wall, sure. But we have so many characters and so many things with us in the Shadowlands that any number of them could make an equal sacrifice with some contrived lore reason. So having Night Elves do it again would just be, it's a callback. It's a callback. Remember when you heard all of the Jedi at the end of the Star Wars movie where Rey was about to die or something? I can't remember how that went. And then all the Jedi spoke to her and then they did the win. Yay. That's what it would feel like to me. Just, this is cynically trying to hook into people's experience as opposed to telling something meaningful, which they could do with the idea of, maybe forgiving the jailer, that being a sense of renewal. They won't do that, of course, but no. They probably wanted to. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. It's just hard to know how you kill the jailer. I don't think the players do it. I think we'll probably beat him up a good bit. And then, I mean, the way that I probably would have done it is, I mean, could you get Azeroth to kill the jailer? Be like, no, fuck you. Or, I mean, when we weaken, sort of leverage the player's connection to the heart of Azeroth, but then I suppose that would be us just shooting another big Azeroth beam at the jailer, which maybe is not what we want to do. But yeah, I suppose I can see how they could do the parallel, and they could think, well, the parallel, look, it's a parallel, and people are like, oh wow, we acknowledge it's a parallel, but like, well, is it a great story though? So it's too early to tell right now. It was just an interesting little thought.
Oh yeah, no, it's
so will they blow him up?
It's a cynical thought, but yeah.
So
will they?
Well, hey, if they do, then World of Warcraft 10.0, The Frozen Throne. Let's go.
Yeah.